Welcome to Biking Yogi Adventures and the review of the Herald Maverick 250. I've just completed over 3,000 miles on this bike. Just zoom in a bit so you can see a bit more, and done Land's End to John O'Groats. It was a great trip. We had all sorts of weather, and I was asked by Herald Motorcycles to test their 250 Maverick. Well, it was fun, it was enjoyable, and it was reliable. But before I picked the bike up from the dealership at Canterbury, I had it for a couple of weeks to test it off-road, and it was fantastic. The tyres obviously were the limiting factor, but with a pair of Mitre Stone Kings, I would certainly take this lovely little bike anywhere. As we pan round, you can see I had a lot of sponsors for this event. Small Bikes, Big Adventures, great fun on small bikes. Moto Junkies in Wales, thank you Steph and the team. Nathan and the Garbage Run, who organised the Land's End John O'Groats trip. Mental Health Motorbikes, and the Caledonian Bike Bus company, which offered me a lift back with my bike, and I explained that that's very kind of them. However, the idea was to ride the bike there and back. And there is my logo if you want to subscribe or just like or share Biking Yogi Adventures. Now, my son, who's far more technical than me, has set up a YouTube channel, and this is my first video, so bear with me as I go through the bike. So first things first, let's take a look at it and just see what you think. I mean, it's clearly got that off-road look. It's got a metal bash plate on it. If I just zoom in, you can see it's got a metal bash plate there, which indicates it's off-road intent. So I took it off-road, and I ride off-road every week, and I ride in Snowdonia, and I ride big GSs, and I ride Transalps, I ride everything. And whilst we're in one of my barns, I'll show you, digressing here, but you can see I do like little bikes. This has done the beach race a couple of times, and yes, what is it? Well, it's a GN 125 Suzuki, which I have ragged all over the place. Some of my other eclectic mix, Jawa 350 with a sidecar, my Strada, and my trusty BMW, which has done 123,000 miles of travelling. I've been riding for over 50 years, and to me, this bike ticked all the boxes. On this trip, we had a mixture of motorway, mainly B roads, and a lot of traffic. This little bike carved through all the traffic, leaving the big, heavily loaded GSs behind. They just couldn't filter through the twisties. It's got these Avon tyres. Let me just show you them. Avon Trail Rider, dual compound. Now, obviously, the bike doesn't come with these, but my God, do they stick to the road. And for this trip, we swapped the Chinese Nobblies for the Avon Trail Riders. So I was able to hustle a 750 VFR through the twisties. No trouble, he couldn't lose me. And then when we got on the motorway, it would cruise easily at 70 mile an hour. And yeah, it really was a sort of Swiss Army knife of bikes. As you can see, mudguards seem to be an optional extra. So everything got covered in mud and dirt and water, and my God, we had some water. The bike comes with ABS, which is fine. The brakes are good, very happy with that. However, off-roading, I would have liked to be able to switch that ABS off. Coming further up to look at the cockpit, well, it's got a sort of instrument panel. It has one rather basic speedo in kilometers and a load of warning lights. Now I found that difficult to see, so I went by the odometer, and when it got to 220 kilometers, that was when I looked to see if the warning light for the petrol was on. I can't even see it now. Anyway, it's there somewhere. So I went more by the odometer than the warning lights. The screen was fitted, as I say, for my sponsors, but it came very handy for blasting from John O'Groats down to Carlisle in 8 hours flat out. I was behind the screen. The bike is standard apart from a USB here, which was for charging my phone, the screen and the tyres. So what can I say? It's a 4-stroke, 250 cc water-cooled, fuel-injected Chinese engine, which I was very impressed with. The engine itself is very flexible through the gears. If you keep the revs up, it's very responsive and no trouble basically getting away from traffic and accelerating through the twisties with great fun. The spokes are quite good, the wheels are good strong spokes. Upside down suspension, which if you were off-roading a lot you might want to protect that. Lighting, very good headlight. Indicators are tiny. It didn't help that I put a screen in front of them, but I'm told they were quite clearly visible. Let's go and look at the back ones. Yeah, they're sort of bijou, small that is, and that wasn't too much of an issue. People could see them, although I did resort to using hand signals as a backup for that. Tank capacity is 12 litres. So in real terms, I was getting roughly about 70 mile per gallon. So what's that work out? 70 to 140. Probably a range of about 180 before you were running on empty. Nice little exhaust, that's standard. It blows out from the side, as I found out, because it set fire to one of my panniers, which is now somewhere on the motorway, having been extinguished because I put an oily rag in to stop my tools rattling. The oily rag basically ignited. Anyway, moving on from that embarrassment, if I was off-roading it, I might put some protection on the radiator. It didn't use any oil and it didn't use any coolant, which was pretty good. Now, there is the point of a Chinese bike, because there's so much stigma attached to Chinese bikes, so I'm hoping to dispel some of that. I come from a British background of riding BSAs, and I even had a Rocket Gold Star back in the days in the 70s, and at that time we sort of poo-pooed Japanese bikes, and we know how that ended. So I think there's two standards of Chinese bike. There's the stigma of the older Chinese manufactured bikes, which were pretty much rubbish. And then if you look at today, many of the bikes on the road today have Chinese components. So to give this a fair test, I did, as I say, 3,000 miles on it, and it didn't miss a beat. I love the engine and I love the handling. Okay, so what didn't I like? Well, for me, the seat height is absolutely perfect because I'm sort of 5'11" with a 32, 33 inside leg. If you're a shorter rider, I would definitely say to you, try it. Just, throw your leg over it and make sure it's not too tall for you. Switchable ABS, I think I've mentioned that already, would be good for off-roading. Instrumentation is basic, leave it at that. There's a lot of exposed wires, which I just mentioned, show a few here. You've got some here, and where's some others? Oh, some down there. Yeah, it's more on the other side. I don't know why, but I probably want to have these covered. Can you see? There's quite a few loose wires. Well, not loose, they're not loose, they're connected, but exposed, shall we say. The other thing is, it's only minor, but I am a bit OCD. If you look at the indicator switch, where would you say that was? Is that in the center or is that turning left? Well, I can't do this very well. That's turning left, that's turning right, and that's the center. So a silly little thing, but I kept looking down and thinking I was turning left. Other than that, mirrors, very good. Didn't vibrate loose, good vision behind. Sorry about that, I'm responsible for that crack in that one. Passing places in Scotland on single track roads are sometimes a little bit dangerous, and a white van decided he wasn't going to pull into the parking space or passing space, so we clipped mirrors and luckily not handlebars, so that's down to me. So there you have it. Price on the road is £3,595, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. The other things you might want to know is it kicks out 24 brake horsepower, which is respectable for a bike that only weighs 148 kilograms. However, by the time my tent, my clothes, my tools, and everything else was on it, it was significantly more. Okay, so apologies for this rather amateurish first YouTube video. I'll get my son to do another one introducing myself and my eclectic mix of bikes. But anyway, if you like, that would be great. Subscribe or share. And any comments, please make them below and I'll try and answer any questions you have. Cheers.